Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. Over the past 7 years, we have understood what matters the most to you, the entrepreneur. And in year 8, we are taking 2 of your most pressing concerns head on, those of funding and mentoring. I'm Sumit Lakhotia, and on the show tonight, a very special conversation with Berger Paints. We bring to you a masterclass on doing business with the MD and CEO of Berger Paints, Abhijit Roy. He spoke to us about the various factors that have helped Berger Paints grow. Let's take a listen.
Abhijit, so good having you here on the show on Leaders of Tomorrow on this masterclass on doing business for small entrepreneurs. And it's particularly exciting to someone, to talk to someone who's based in the east of the country, talking to entrepreneurs who are based here, but not necessarily in this zone, because we speak to so few, large businesses like yourself doing pan-India work, doing global work, which are based out of this region, unfortunately. I want to kickstart today's interview by talking about the fact that you took over in 2012, and since then we've seen the company growing almost 3-4 times in this very short span of time. What's that been like? What has been that one factor that's possibly driven you and driven this kind of growth and helped you grow this much?
Yeah, when I took over in 2012, at that point of time the company was still doing well, but we were having a profitability ratio which was quite low, and in terms of innovation, the war presence was not so great in the Indian industry, in the paint industry as such. So once we took over, and after that, what I did first was try to streamline the team. The team needed to be strengthened a little bit, which is very, very important. So recruitment was done in a different manner slightly. I started participating in recruiting even the sales officers, so that the quality of sales officers improves in that team. Then as far as managers are concerned, there also I spent considerable time choosing the right kind of people, ensuring that the team believes that we can do better, we can innovate. We can actually, we may not be able to become number one, but in thoughts and ideas we can become number one.
Sure.
So that was the change which we tried to bring in. The other thing which we did was strengthen the R&D, because that was very important. If we had to innovate, then obviously the R&D has to be strong. Without a strong R&D, it is difficult to come out with products which are innovative and which serves the purpose of consumers. So once that was done, we started on a journey of innovation, which is what probably that has helped us to grow revenues, but much more importantly to grow the operating profit much more significantly.
Sure.
And as a result of that, when I had taken over, the market cap of the company was about 3,000 crores. Today it is at 56,000 crores. So that's a massive jump which has happened in this period of 7 years, more than 18 times, and in terms of, if you look at it, largely driven by these innovations.
I will devote some part of this interview, of course, to talking about innovation in the paints industry. But I first want to talk about the fact that, what in these 8-9 years perhaps have been the biggest trends that you've seen when it comes to the paint market. How has it changed? What have been the biggest changes?
So a few things changed quite dramatically that way. One is the fact that there has been a movement towards more premium products. Earlier, it was much more basic stuff. The number of segments which were available, or rather, the companies are also playing on limited segments, and gradually we started breaking up, and catering to different types of segments of consumers, segmenting them properly and trying to target them. And each company came out with different types of products. It's a very fiercely competitive industry. Not only the existing all players who are present, there are many newcomers who are also coming in. So you need to constantly be on your toes, innovate, to separate yourself out from the bunch. So as a result of that, this shift has happened more towards the premium products. There was cement paint which was very prevalent. There was a company called Snowsem in those days which used to have a significant stake in the exterior coating market, and they were almost like a leader. And in interiors it used to be primarily distemper which used to sell, and some amount of high-end emulsions. But over the time this has migrated upwards. Almost the cement paint industry is very small now. Most of it has migrated to better quality emulsion paint which is used on exteriors. They last longer and they look better. And in the same way, in the interiors also, the distemper sale has not moved or grown so much. What has grown, however, is the emulsions. Again, the wall coatings have improved in quality. So now there are lots of varieties. If you look at interior now, there are niche segments like the antibacterial, or like we have launched a product called Silk Breathe Easy, which not only is antibacterial but also can absorb polluting gases like SOx, NOx gases, which pollutes the interior of the room. So that type of product innovation is happening now. Going with the trend, basically people are becoming more conscious, environment conscious, green. So the entire paint range is now VOC, very low VOC, no lead, chrome, mercury.
Sure.
So all these things have happened in the recent past. Yeah.
Okay. While we been talking about how the industry has moved, I do also want to talk about what's happening in the current environment. And on this masterclass on doing business, address the fact that the economy perhaps is not in the best position that it was in, and particularly for the past 2 or 3 years, there's been quite some concern in terms of the macroeconomy. And one of the industries that does get hit, of course, is what is the paints industry, perhaps. For someone who's watching this interview, as the head of Berger Paints, what would you like to tell them in a downturn, perhaps, when perhaps the economy is not looking good, when perhaps the market is not looking good? What is your recommendation for an entrepreneur about how to ride out a slow period?
So 2-3 things which we believe needs to be done in this, when there is a slowdown sort of. The first and foremost is that you need to keep on being much more closer to your customer and innovating much more, probably. The tendency is that we will not introduce any new product because this is a slowdown period. I believe that you should do the reverse. Okay. And even in the case of demonetization, in that particular period in November, we had introduced 3 new products into the market, and all of them did very well, in fact. And now also we have introduced about 5 products, new ones, in this last 3 months, and we think that that is something which excites the population. They may be otherwise not taking some other product. If you look at the car industry, for example, you will find that Kia and MG is selling and they are completely booked, whereas some of the other people are struggling for sales, right? So anything which is new and different and innovative, at this slowdown period, at least that starts moving. And hence your innovation exercise should actually be strengthened rather than you are trying to walk off from it.
Sure.
The second part of it obviously is to have a control on the cost. Wherever it is unnecessary expenses going on, that you need to clamp down on that strongly. Look at that so that you are saving enough so that the engine of innovation, the engine of advertisement and branding, which needs to be maintained in these periods, people also tend to cut off the advertisement in a little bit.
Yeah,
that's the easiest thing to do. You just cut off, let's reduce. We have maintained, and in fact, there's been no cut down in terms of advertisement as such, because we believe that this is the time when you can actually get much more visibility, because other people are reducing, so you have a chance of getting better visibility on air, and hence probably going closer to the customer. So it's just you have to ride it out. You have to also keep your team motivated.
Okay. Speaking of possibly, some sort of dampening in discretionary spends, you're saying you as a company haven't looked at cutting back on your branding or your advertisement expenses. You're also someone who doesn't believe in a pricing game. You don't believe that it's going to be a price war. Just talk to us about that and your philosophy in terms of, pricing and how to right price your products.
So it was a learning which we had. Earlier what we used to do when we were up to maybe 2009-10, we used to follow the leader. In our industry, Asian Paints is the leader. Yeah. And our tendency was, you launch a product, price it cheaper than Asian Paints and, keep going on that, right? That took us to a certain level, but we realized that, in terms of EBITDA to sales or our, ability to actually scale up, it was becoming a limitation. So instead of following, we started innovating. Sure. We started talking to consumers, understanding what their requirements were, and giving products which probably fitted that requirement, which was not available in the market, and which we can develop and give to the customer. As a result of that, we realized that this is even better than the cost strategy, right? The cost strategy is always available, but as a leader, the leader always has an advantage in cost, because it's buying in bulk, its productivity is high, its scale impact is much higher. So to compete on cost is a difficult exercise, unless you really scale up very fast. It will be difficult to take them on in cost, and they can always beat you down.
Sure.
So instead of doing that, it is much better to go for a product differentiation type of a strategy, which is what we adopted and which is what has been our mainstay so far.
Presented by IDFC First Bank. Co-presented by Wadhwani Foundation. Knowledge partner, OddUp. Software partner, Zoho.
Undaunted partner, Valentine's Golf Retreat.
मुस्कुराओ तुम जरा मैं संभाल लूंगा जरूरतों को तेरी आगे मैं रखूंगा आगे आगे मैं रखूंगा आगे मैं रखूंगा आगे आगे.
For those who always put others first, here's a bank that puts you first. Introducing IDFC First Bank. Open a savings account and get up to 7% interest. IDFC First Bank. Always you first.
जिसको पीते ही ऐसा लगता है जैसे
जन्नत जिंदगी
सुबलाइम फ्रेश
Awesome.
संतुलित
बहुत मस्त यार पैकेट से कैसे भी
Amul Masti Buttermilk. Desi Refresher. In the near future, virtual reality will transport you live to the news or even a factory. Business plans will be shared via augmented reality. Legal cases will be fought in cyber courts. And you will be able to download your mind into a machine. Even a 100-year-old university may not prepare you for this future. Bennett University does.
मेरे लिए सबसे प्रेशियस है टाइम, इसीलिए LIC की वेबसाइट पे ऑनलाइन प्रीमियम भरता हूँ. अब लाइफ तो सिक्योर्ड है ही, टाइम भी बचता है. LIC है तो और कहीं क्यों जाएं?
मुस्कुराओ तुम जरा मैं संभाल लूंगा जरूरतों को तेरी आगे मैं रखूंगा आगे आगे मैं रखूंगा आगे मैं रखूंगा आगे आगे.
For those who always put others first, here's a bank that puts you first. Introducing IDFC First Bank. Open a savings account and get up to 7% interest. IDFC First Bank. Always you first. those who've always put others first, here's a bank that puts you first. Introducing IDFC First Bank. Open a savings account and get up to 7% interest. IDFC First Bank. Always you first.
You're speaking about your nearest competitor, Asian Paints, and when you started out, there were just one or two products really in the paints market in the country. Now you do have products like Kansai, etc. You do have JSW, for instance, which is also looking at a huge turnover in this market. My question to you is, what has been your own strategy on how you view competition, and based on that, for a small player who's perhaps playing in a very fragmented market at really the bottom of the pyramid when it comes to the paints industry or any industry, how closely should you be watching your competition?
So we have always, competition in paint industry has been always very fierce. It's never relent. It's sort of new players come in every 1 year, 2 year. More players jump into the fray. So in fact, today, if you look at the paint industry, the top 10 players of the world, all of them are here. There is no one who is outside of India as of now. So PPG is here through Asian Paints in a joint venture. Sherwin-Williams is there on their own on the industrial side. Akzo Nobel has been there for years now. Kansai is there, Nippon is there, Jotun is there, Hempel is there. Every company worth its salt, and has, which has a significant presence in the world, they are all present in India. Sure. New entrants have also come in, of late. JSW, as you mentioned, has come in. So competition is, to be taken seriously at all points of time. But our belief is that, if you are doing your job well, if you are close to the customer, if you continue to, innovate, then I think competition will come. We will have to fight it. They only help us to become even better. So I take it as there is a big industry. People will see the attractiveness of this industry. They will come in. You cannot prevent or avoid that. So the best way to do it is to be concentrated on your job. Okay. Look at branding, look at distribution, look at innovation, and strengthen that, so that is it.
Sure. I just want to go back to the earlier question to talk about the economy. We're sitting at the beginning of 2020. How's the rest of the year looking like for you? What would you like to tell an entrepreneur who's watching this interview about what perhaps is your view on the paints market, on the paints industry for 2020?
2019 had begun on a very good wicket. The first quarter we grew very well, almost at 20% plus, and since then there has been a bit of a slowdown in the economy, as all of us are aware of. Things haven't changed dramatically so far in the positive direction. There is some improvement in the sentiment overall, and there has been a bit of an improvement in the offtake as well of late, right?
Sure.
We believe that going forward in the second half, probably it will be even better in terms of growth rate. There has been a lot of actions which have been taken by the government. It will take time for it to show results possibly. It is expected that this time the crops will be very good, especially the Rabi crops, because of the good rainfall, and hence when the harvesting happens in the month of April, etc., when the money comes in, that time we expect that the offtake will improve considerably. Probably we'll see an uptake in demand for most consumer products at that point of time.
Okay, so that's very good news then, that you're expecting an uptick in demand for 2020.
Right.
And that's definitely good news for an entrepreneur who's in your industry. I want to talk the big picture when it comes to innovation, when it comes to branding, and your own strategy towards that. Right. First and foremost, you did speak in length, in depth about what innovation and what trends really the paints industry has taken. But I want to understand innovation for you at Berger. What does it mean? Why is it necessary for you to innovate? How do you ensure that you're constantly perhaps taking feedback from your consumers?
Right.
What is that process like?
Right.
And how does that feedback into the R&D you were talking about?
We came out with this concept of express painting. whereby you can take a vacuum sander, which means instead of using a sandpaper to rub the wall, you take a machine onto the wall. It does this sanding, and then it has a vacuum attached, so it sucks the dust out.
Sure.
So the job which used to take say 4 days, 5 days, now it can be done in 3-4 hours. The other problem which consumers faced was that it used to take a long time. They will come and say I will do it in 10 days, and they'll linger on in the flat for maybe 18 days, 20 days, and the housewife will be exasperated. The people in the house cooped up in one room. So it's a difficult exercise.
Okay.
So this particular thing we called it faster, cleaner, better, Berger Express painting, and we advertised it on television, in the digital media. A huge amount of response from consumers, primarily because they felt that here the company was taking this, and not only that, they were doing it with automatic machines. They were taking the full responsibility of execution of the job. We were giving a 1-year warranty after doing the job as well. We trained a large number of painters, more than 5,000 painters across the country. They purchased these equipments. We set up 26 training centers across the country to do this job. So there are many technicians who are trained to repair these equipments. So it's an entire infrastructure set up, primarily to ensure that we are able to deliver to the consumer's requirement.
Sure.
It was an absolute new thing. Probably I don't think too many people do it in the world at this scale.
Sure.
So this is something again, as I said, we keep innovating in different directions.
So you were talking about innovation. I do want to talk also about branding, and while you've spoken about it extensively, I do want to understand how you've identified what it is you want to stand for as a brand, and how you communicate that. What has been your strategy when it comes to branding, and therefore what you want to tell our viewers.
So branding, what we stand for is basically an innovative company. That is our differentiation from the lot, right? We probably understand the consumer a little bit better, and therefore from probably many other players who are there in the market today. Our nose is to the ground, we smell it much faster possibly, and then once we have done that, then we tend to propagate that message fast. You need to also be swift in this market, because it gets copied very fast. So you need to therefore establish that leadership as fast as possible, to advertise heavily, to communicate the message through all the channels that are available today. So the branding exercise revolves around these innovative products and services, first of all. Secondly, all our brands, if you look at it, will be directed in the sense that it is slightly away from the normal, and mostly has a utility function. We wish that we can bring in much more emotion into it. That's something which we are working on, that how do we bring more, but as of now, since it is having these differentiations which are very strongly visible, we project that in terms of the branding exercise.
Okay, so for a brand which is in the paints market, then what should a good branding strategy look like?
All branding has to have a combination of rationality with emotion, right?
Okay.
It depends on the weightages what you want to bring in, right? Sometimes you have strongly emotional ads and a little bit of rational thing tied in, and sometimes it's the reverse. In our case, it is more towards the rational side. Unemotional is there, but the benefit out of that rational thing is the emotion, right?
Sure.
So that's what we have been doing so far. There is a possibility of moving more towards the emotional side, which we are looking at.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then my last question to you, Abhijit, if you can leave us with anything in the short term that is particularly exciting you, whether it's doing business at Berger, or the way the market is really panning out. What do you want to leave us with?
So we are number 2, but poised for good growth. We are currently in the number 14 in the world in ranking in the paint industry. The short term objective is to move to the top 10 in the world in the paint industry. That's what we are looking at, and improving our standing in the domestic paint market further, going closer to the leader. That's what has been, driving us so far. The most important, however, driving force has been this excitement with different types of innovations which we do. The thought leadership, which I think, these days, there are some products where the leader has copied us actually. So, that makes us happier that, we've been able to think through and innovate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time here on the show, Abhijit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the time that we have tonight on this episode of Leaders of Tomorrow. But if you have any feedback for us, here's how you can get in touch. Our contact details will be up on your screen in just a moment. Do get in touch. We love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching and have a good night.